This is a work of political and social commentary. The content of this video is not meant for children under the age of 13. Parental discretion is advised. There's an election coming, and it may be the most important election in decades. Everything that has been accomplished in the last few years is at stake, with the winning party gaining control of the agenda and determining how the Western world will proceed for the next several years. The funny thing, at least from my perspective, is that the election in question isn't the US general election in November 2020. It's the UK general election on the 12th of December. Surprised? Don't be, because this election is worth some roasted opinions. 650 members of parliament will be selected by their constituents on December 12th, and there is a lot at stake in this election. The final decisions on Brexit will be made after the new parliament is seated, and as I've said before, the relationship between the United Kingdom and the European Union affects the global economy enough that it could spell either explosive growth or widespread recession. One election to fill 650 seats in the House of Commons. Simple, right? No. Just no. Any American who has studied the UK Parliament can tell you there is nothing simple about the UK general election process. First, we need to talk about all 4 elections. 4? Yes, one each for England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Each has its own set of political parties, including nationalist parties which only stand for seats in their portion of the UK. In Northern Ireland, 18 seats are being selected. The parties who are attempting to fill those seats are Irish parties, including Sinn Féin and Ontu, all Ireland parties who refuse to sit in the UK House of Commons despite running for those seats. The Democratic Unionist Party looks to take 8 seats, a loss of 2. Sinn Féin looks to return 7 empty seats to Westminster, remaining completely unchanged. Sylvia Harman isn't standing for her seat as an independent, so that leaves 3 seats up for grabs. Polling suggests that all 3 will go to the Alliance Party, their best showing in a UK general election ever. In Wales, Plaid Cymru looks to return 4 members to Parliament, like Sinn Féin, completely unchanged in their delegation. In fact, the only changes predicted are to the 2 other parties who return members from Wales. Welsh Labour looks to return 25, down 3, and the Welsh Tories look to return 11, absorbing those 3 lost seats from Labour. In Scotland, the Scottish National Party looks like it will break the pattern of other nationalist parties in merely holding on to their current delegation. Instead, it looks like they will gain 10 seats, 4 from the Tories and 6 from Labour. That would increase the SNP's hold on Scotland's constituencies to 45 out of 59 in the House of Commons. The Scottish Liberal Democrats will probably hold on to their 4 seats, leaving the Scottish Tories with 9 seats and the Scottish Labour Party with just 1. That leaves England, and the current predictions are that the Green Party will hold on to its 1 seat. UKIP and the Brexit Party, the 2 parties whose platforms revolve around leaving the EU, are projected to return no delegates at all. The Liberal Democrats will likely add 3 seats to their collection, increasing their English seats to 11. Labour, having lost Sir Lindsay Hoyle's seat along with his election as Speaker, will take a bath, losing 29 more seats in a terrible backlash against the obstructionism and racism of Jeremy Corbyn. The Conservatives will absorb those which the Lib Dems cannot claim, gaining 25 seats in England. The final tally will then be thus: the Speaker's seat, 1. Green Party, 1. Alliance Party, 3. Plaid Cymru, 4. Sinn Féin, 7. DUP, 8. Lib Dems, 15. SNP, 45. Labour, 224. And the Conservative Party, 342. I expect that there will be less than 10% slippage in those seat predictions given how much time remains for campaigning. Now that's interesting because that returns Boris Johnson as Prime Minister, likely with a majority government. The Labour Party will most likely see a sharp decrease in their seat count, which may just prove to be enough to oust Jeremy Corbyn from his position as leader of Her Majesty's most loyal opposition and the Labour Party. Then again, maybe not. In my opinion, that would be, after all, a good thing for the UK. Although I would miss the entertainment factor of Jeremy Corbyn's relentless harping that the UK is on the verge of collapse no matter what new economic figures are released by whatever organization. Still, with a good to excellent chance of a majority government, even without the support of aligned parties, it looks like Johnson will finally be able to force through the Brexit deal. That would put the UK out of the EU once and for all, with a corresponding change in the balance of economic power in Europe. While Germany might still effectively run the EU, the UK's freedom to make independent trade deals and regained control over their own resources leaves them in position to join the US in rapid economic expansion, increasing the degree of insulation against EU and Chinese obstructionism. That might even tip the scales in the US-China trade war, as the UK could realign their trade policy to support either China or the US. Given the fact that China has taken as much unfair advantage against the UK as they have against the US, we might just see China accept that the heydays of massive trade surpluses are over. And if they do, then perhaps the EU will see the same thing and allow the US and UK to compete equally in their markets. Now, wouldn't that be something to see? For people like me who love to follow politics, this is the next best thing to finding out who will be sworn in as the US president in January 2021. Stay tuned.